Hi, I'm Pastor Jacob, and this is week 3 of my journey as the pastor of Blue Mound United Methodist Church in Denton, Texas. And man, it has been a whirlwind of a week. It started off great and stayed great, actually. I got a lot of things done. I enjoyed my sermon this past week, and I got good feedback, so I guess that means other people may have also. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. But first, I'd like to try and go through quickly all of the different things that happened positively this past week. Not only is the AC fixed in here, but we've also ordered a portable AC unit so that when I'm in the building by myself, we're not having to run a large unit for the sake of cooling down one reasonably sized room. And so that'll hopefully save on our electricity usage, as well as, if we have a meeting in the evening, we can roll that unit in there instead of, again, cooling down 4 rooms for the sake of 1. So I'm excited about that. Also, I got the opportunity to visit one of the shut-ins from the community, and not only was that a great experience meeting him, but also in the midst of that meeting, I said a few too many times already, please forgive me. In the midst of that meeting, there was a conversation that began the possibility of extending our worship service to that assisted living facility. And so we'll be exploring that possibility, trying to figure out how to do that as easily as possible, not for the sake of not wanting to put effort in there, but rather we have a limited resource of effort and time. And so trying to figure out how we can leverage things like the recording of the sermon and seeing if that will be helpful. Also, let's see, I met with the pastor of Seminary United Methodist Church, Phil Stobaugh. He and I and my wife and his wife all had lunch Sunday after church, and it was wonderful getting to know him and his wife, and so that we can hopefully continue to work in strong connection to build the kingdom of God in this area. Also, I began what is going to be a weekly meeting with some clergy in the area. Still saying way too many times. Please forgive me for that. As I said at the beginning, this past week has been a whirlwind, and I've got a lot on my plate this week as well, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But I'm going to be meeting regularly with other clergy from the area to both discuss things that are going on in our churches and how God is moving, but also as a place to be in covenant together and hold each other up, hold each other accountable, and lots of different benefits that come from clergy that meet together in covenant, and so I'm very excited about being a part of that. On to one other very exciting thing for me, at least, and that is that we have gotten our website transferred in hosting from Finding God's Way Ministry into United Methodist Communications web hosting through umcchurches.org. It's a service that actually offers Methodist churches hosting as close to cost as you can find, because the United Methodist Communications office itself is supported in part by our apportionments. And so we're going to be able to have a better quality site for less each month. And the user interface for keeping the site updated is much more user-friendly than most website back offices. And so very soon here we'll have a revamped website, and it will be easier for volunteers to help maintain that content. So now on to the whirlwind news, and that is in the past week, I've been keeping my eye on the housing market for several months, and thinking that we were just going to be staying down in Lake Dallas and commuting up here to the north side of Denton, and I don't like driving that much, and so I've been having my eyes open. I also like the old school model of pastoring, where the pastor is actually in the community. I think that's essential. And so I've had my eyes open, and there was really not much of anything that was catching my eye. And then one caught my eye, and it turns out that it's all sorts of right for us. I unknowingly was praying for a house like this one in this type of neighborhood, not realizing that the house that I was looking at when I was driving home and praying about that was going to be available and doable. And so we went and we visited the house, and we made an offer on a house, and it was accepted like right away. And so the whole process has just been like very quick and seamless, and a process that most people find extremely stressful has been very stress-free. And I attribute that to the work of God, and so I'm very excited that my wife and I will be listing our house for sale probably this week. We're getting it ready right now, and so that's, again, like I said, why my brain is running 90 miles a minute. It's working faster than my mouth is, and so sometimes you'll hear the ums come out, and so please forgive me on that. On to the good stuff. I'm going to try and get this video done in less than 10 minutes, and we're at 7 something already. So, my sermon this past week was about freedom, most specifically free will, and my understanding of the United Methodist Church's position on free will. And that is that because of Jesus, we are given the freedom to accept or reject following God, and further that we should not fall victim to becoming slaves to our own desires, or to becoming slaves of the law or legalism, or even having a works righteousness faith mentality. And so if some of those ideals pique your interest at all, I would encourage you to watch the full video that will also be available in the links. I even quote from John Wesley's journal. Well, the quote is from his journal, but also from his a book about him called Awakening Joy. Is that focusing? There you go. Yeah. So that's where the quote comes from, even though it originates in his diary. Anyways. Alright, so that's this past week's sermon. This coming week, this Sunday, July 23rd, I'll be doing an informal Q&A, question and answer, that's redundant, during our Sunday school hour, where people from the church can come and ask any sort of question they want, and I'll do my best to answer whatever the questions they have. I'm also going to try and stream that on our church's Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Blue Mound Methodist, I believe, is the slash. So if you can't make it in person, try and check it out on Facebook Live. If you put a comment of a question during that live thing, I will also try and get to those as well, in case you can't be here in person. During worship, I'm going to explore the beauty of Paul's words in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verses 12 through 25. Now, this is that all familiar and famous passage where Paul mentions that we are not given a spirit of fear, but a spirit of adoption, by which we cry, Abba, Father. And so exploring what it means to be a child of God, who gets to consider themselves a child of God according to Paul, and what that means for how we should live our lives in faith and in worship. I hope you'll join me next week, either physically by coming to our worship service. It starts at 10:45. It's on the north side of Denton, right on I-35, or by staying connected digitally through these videos or messages. And until then, please keep your eyes open to see God working in your life. Grace and peace, and God bless.